Okay. So just when you thought this whole Blueface and Chrisean Rock situation had finally died down, just when you thought everybody had moved on, found peace, touched grass, the universe said absolutely not. Because this past week had the entire internet in a chokehold. We got surprise concert appearances, a paternity controversy that will not stay buried, a pregnant girlfriend who had every right to snap, and a lunch date suggestion that nearly ended somebody's life. We are covering all of it today, and I need you to stay because every single piece of this connects. This is one big, messy, real story. Buckle up. Let quote S go back to Sunday, May 10th, 2025. Blueface, real name Jonathan Jamal Porter, is in Seattle, Washington, on his Fresh Out of Love tour. The show is being streamed live on his Kick.com channel. Then, out of nowhere, he brings out a surprise guest. Chrisean Rock. Yes, that Chrisean Rock. The same woman who not long before this moment had publicly said she was staying far away from what she herself described as his circus. The same woman who had moved back to Baltimore, gotten baptized again, started boxing professionally, and was, by all appearances, rebuilding her life on her own terms. That woman walked out onto that Seattle stage, performed her gospel-inspired track Yahweh, and had the crowd going absolutely crazy. The stage appearance was just the beginning. After the show, footage surfaced from inside Blueface's tour trailer, and there she was, right there with him, calm and casual, while he was streaming to nearly 3,000 people online. When he jokingly asked her to say hi to the chat, she refused. Low-key, unbothered. Like she'd simply come to hang out, no big announcements, no explanations needed. Then, on Snapchat the next day, Chrisean posted a video of the two of them playboxing, and she captioned it, Chrisean parents.
No, he's southpaw. He's really the other side. He fight backwards, nigga.
Let that caption sit with you for a second, because the reason that two-word caption hit so hard is everything that had happened just days before this reunion. Just 1 week earlier, Blueface had sat down with Jason Lee on The Jason Lee Show. And in that interview, he said something that detonated like a bomb across social media. He looked straight into that camera and said, point blank, "It's not my kid." To understand why that Seattle reunion felt so jarring, you have to understand what Blueface said on that show and how he said it. In the May 6th interview, Blueface doubled down on a claim he had already made back in March, that he is not the biological father of Chrisean Rock's son, Chrisean Jesus.
Chrisean Jr., there were times where you said it wasn't your kid, it is your kid.
Yeah.
Now, today, it's not your kid.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
Who was born in September 2023. But this time, he didn't just deny paternity. He went further. He claimed that both he and Chrisean had agreed, from early on, to let the public believe he was the father, because, and these are the words he used, "We were making money and it was a good storyline. The biological father, he didn't fit the storyline, put it that way." He then laughed and said, "I went along with it. But if you play back the train of events, it all makes sense today, doesn't it?" So according to Blueface, this was a calculated move, a shared performance, a narrative that kept fans hooked and money flowing. He alleged that the real biological father of Chrisean Jesus is Karan Khan, known publicly as Ronny Doe.
Because like I said, you can watch Crazy in Love, you can watch anything. I've always...
Chrisean Rock's late ex-boyfriend, Ronny, had stepped forward himself back in December 2024, taking to social media to claim the child as his own and demanding a DNA test.
When he was claiming to be your son's father, was that for clout too?
That was.
And that was because at the time, Blueface was saying he wasn't.
He alleged at the time that Chrisean was actively trying to prevent that paternity test from happening. Then, in February 2025, at just 24 years old, Ronny was shot and killed in Severn, Maryland. Authorities confirmed it was a targeted attack. His death made this entire situation not just messy, but genuinely tragic. Blueface also claimed in the interview that he was not present for the birth, and that the biological father was. He also posted publicly around this time, "Junior is not my biological son. R.I.P. to his father, Ronny. I can no longer continue the plot. It doesn't feel right as a present father in all my kids' lives to be discredited as an absent father to a child that is not biologically mine. I tried my best to fill in the blanks because his biological father is no longer with us, but I can't continue the plot. Chrisean Rock has consistently, from day one, maintained that Blueface is the father of her son. She did not stay quiet this time either. After the interview dropped, she aired him out publicly. And yet, 1 week later, there she was in that Seattle trailer, captioning videos, Chrisean.
He fight backwards, nigga.
Parents. The internet lost its mind. The comments came fast and they came hard. The Shade Room alone pulled over 25,000 comments across 2 posts about their reunion that weekend. That is not a small number. People were shocked, disappointed, confused, and in some corners, quietly rooting for them anyway. The dragging was real. People felt like they'd watched Chrisean do the work. The relocating, the baptism, the boxing career, the emotional distance from Los Angeles, and then watched her walk right back into the same orbit. Comments like, all her progress was for him, and she's right where she wants to be, flooded every platform. So on Tuesday, May 12th, Chrisean Rock posted a statement via Instagram stories, and the way she framed it was notable. She didn't address the boxing session directly. Instead, she wrote about her son, referring to him seemingly as the reason she makes every decision she makes. And then in a second post, she said something that cut right through all the noise. Y'all keep saying Chrisean Rock was with Blueface. No. Chrisean was with Jonathan. The old Chrisean died. Don't let that go over your head. Holy Hands. She signed it Holy Hands. That quote as her spiritual identity. The version of herself she says she's been building since the baptism. The implication was clear. She is not the same person who used to spiral publicly over this man. She's operating from a different place now, whatever that looks like to her. She signed it Holy Hands. That quote as her spiritual identity. The version of herself she says she's been building since the baptism. The implication was clear. She is not the same person who used to spiral publicly over this man. She's operating from a different place now. Whatever that looks like to her. Whether you believe that or not probably depends on how long you've been watching this story unfold. That statement landed differently for a lot of people. Some were moved by it, others called it deflection. Most were somewhere in the middle, waiting to see what happens next. Now here is where everything gets a second layer. Because while all of this is happening with Chrisean Rock, there is another woman fully in the picture. Blueface's current pregnant girlfriend, Nevaeh Akira, whose real name is Akira Williams. Now here is where everything gets a second layer. Because while all of this is happening with Chrisean Rock, there is another woman fully in the picture. Blueface's current pregnant girlfriend, Nevaeh Akira, whose real name is Akira Williams. Nevaeh, who is expecting a son with Blueface named Solar Andre Porter, was already dealing with the weight of his very public paternity denial of Chrisean's son, the hypocrisy of which was not lost on anyone. And when the Seattle reunion went viral, she reacted. On camera.
I know that. They know that. As long as I get what the fuck I want.
Honestly, she said, it's normal to feel some type of way. Yeah, I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. He's fully backtracking. I'm not about to move out of anger. I have no reason to. Honestly, I don't care. That I don't care landed with the energy of someone who absolutely cares, but has made a decision to stay. And the internet had thoughts about that too. But here's the thing. Nevaeh's week was not over yet. Because on top of the Seattle situation, viral clips also started circulating from a separate live stream moment that had happened around the same time. And this one had a very specific energy. During a live stream, Blueface casually mentioned that he wanted to take 2 women who were hanging out at his house out to lunch. Just like that, out loud, in front of Nevaeh, she pulled up. And she let him know very clearly how she felt about that idea. No, send them off. They can go get lunch with their wigs and have a good time, she said. Blueface, perhaps testing the limits of human patience, then responded, okay, how about we go get lunch and you just wait here? She looked at him. You said what? He immediately caught himself. Never mind. Never mind. That's a bad idea. And it was. It absolutely was. That was a terrible idea, Jonathan. The clip went viral instantly. People were tagging it everything from hilarious to deeply concerning, depending on where they sit on the spectrum of this whole situation. The two women were later identified on social media as Ashley and Joanna, women Blueface had apparently been hanging out with.
I know you're pregnant.
I don't care.
I know you're very emotional. I know everything's very, strong right now.
While also being in a relationship with a pregnant Nevaeh. Because of course, .S. Also worth noting that around this same period, another woman named Rella Coleman publicly came forward, claiming she was also pregnant by Blueface. He has not confirmed that claim, and no DNA has been established. But the fact that it dropped into this same news cycle tells you everything about the environment Nevaeh Akira is navigating right now. This isn't just celebrity gossip in the traditional sense. There are real children involved. Chrisean Jesus.
What you trying to do?
A kid should never be in the way of what I'm doing.
A toddler who will one day be old enough to search his own name and find years of paternity disputes, public denials, and viral drama attached to it. Solar Andre Porter, who hasn't even been born yet and already has a father making headlines about lunch dates with other women while his mother is pregnant. And Ronny Doe's story. A 24-year-old man who was shot and killed while actively trying to assert his rights as a father. That part of this story tends to get buried under the entertainment angle, and it shouldn't be. What Blueface said in that Jason Lee interview wasn't just a soundbite. He claimed, on camera, that he and Chrisean participated in what was essentially a years-long public deception for financial gain. If that's true, that's a significant admission. If it's not true, if this is another calculated move to control a narrative, then it raises its own questions about why a man would publicly deny his own child for attention or leverage. Chrisean Rock's position has never wavered publicly. She has always said, he's the father. The DNA question has never been definitively resolved publicly. Ronny is no longer here to speak. And now Blueface is back in her orbit 1 week after the interview, while she posts Chrisean parents on social media like none of it happened. The internet keeps score, and people are exhausted, but they're still watching, because every time they look away, another chapter starts. So that's where we are right now. Chrisean Rock spoke out and said the old her is gone. Nevaeh Akira said she's not moving out of anger, but she clearly checked him on that lunch date, and she was right too. Blueface, for his part, keeps doing what Blueface does, making every situation louder and more complicated than it needs to be, while simultaneously calling it strategy. What I will say is this: the people in the middle of this, the kids, the women, navigating relationships with someone who treats chaos like a career move, their experiences are real, even when the drama feels like a show. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you actually think about Chrisean's statement. Did it land for you, or did it sound like a dodge? And somebody explain to me how Blueface thought that lunch date suggestion was going to go well, because I need to understand the thought process. Like the video if you stayed till the end, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.